Hey,
Hey, woohoo!
and
Happy Wine Wednesday.
I got some Syrah in my glass.
I got lots of Syrah in front of me. Lots of it.
Cheers.
Woohoo! Cheers. But you know what? Before we start on this Syrah, cheers. A
Yes,
little bit of white in that 35-degree days.
that's true. You poured me one here. What is this?
This is a nice Viognier from right across the lake right here. Behind that big tree that you guys can see, there's an amazing vineyard by lakes, by hillside winery. And this is a Viognier from the Naramata Bench. I knew we're going to taste multiple Syrahs tonight, and we need to get our palate a little bit trained up to get through the next hour. But what a cool hour we have lined up. We have winemakers line up who's going to stop by and visit and chat Syrahs with us, because today it's Syrah week. This we released on Monday Carl's Wine Club top 6 BC Syrah, and we're here to chat about it. We're here to hear your comments. I want to know what you think. I want to know, hey, you know what? It's our top 6. That doesn't mean that I had some people get mad at me on social media this week. I can't believe that you said that's the top 6. Nichols is not in there, or this and that. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Calm down, everyone. I couldn't taste every single Syrah in BC. I did not, and I've never pretend to taste every single Syrah in BC. What we've done, we took the best that we've tasted all year long, and we put a fun recap and a pack together. So calm the F down, everyone. If your favorite is not in there, but I would like to hear which one is your favorite, though, because I'm always willing to go across the lake here or somewhere in the valley to go taste it. So, good
Totally.
afternoon, Carl's Wine Club members.
And you know that that's an interesting thing to know about any wine awards, right? Like you often I look at, oh, this winery won an award. You don't always know like who was considered, right? And
So
so
true. So true. And
because
yeah,
many wineries
uh,
don't enter their wines anywhere in any wine competitions, right? So
that's it. That's it. But you know what? I want to welcome everyone from all over the country, because we have people from New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Victoria. I know that we have people also from the lower mainland, Saskatchewan. So, Carl's Wine Club member, welcome today. I want to know, if you're here, leave a message, leave a text in the chat box. I want to know what's in your glass today. We have in our glass 3 different wines right now. We have Hillside Winery Viognier, we have Moraine 2019 Syrah, and we have Rust Okanagan Falls 2019 Lost Horn Vineyard Single Vineyard Syrah. So that's what we're going to taste with you right now. There's also this bad boy, a rock star, an absolute rock star bottle. So yeah, un beau bonjour à tout le monde en français. J'ai un auditoire en direct ici, en direct de Summerland. Un beau bonjour. Des gens de Québec, nos gens du Nouveau-Brunswick, tous nos membres francophones à travers le pays. On veut vous dire un beau bonjour. On a une émission ce soir qui est un petit peu spécialisée. On fait notre récapitulation des meilleurs syrahs de la Colombie-Britannique. Ce soir, on va parler de 6 différentes Syrahs, mon top 6 Syrahs qu'on a fait le dévoilement en début de semaine. Donc, on va parler de Syrah d'un petit peu partout en Colombie-Britannique. Ensuite, on va recevoir quelques producteurs, quelques winemakers qui vont nous rejoindre en direct pour parler de leur programme. Donc, un show qui est très occupé. Puis, la Syrah est en train de devenir un des raisins, une des variétés de raisins les plus appréciés des amateurs de vin francophones, des amateurs de vin canadiens, si je peux dire. Donc, C'est une émission qui est très, très, très à point présentement. Des vins qui sont parfaits pour le barbecue, parfaits pour la viande. C'est un petit peu chaud aujourd'hui pour goûter toutes ces belles grosses Syrahs. C'est pour ça que j'ai un beau petit verre de Viognier ici pour commencer. Donc, un beau bonjour en français à tout le monde qui nous écoute. On va avoir notre premier invité qui va se joindre à nous dans 5-6 minutes. Ryan DeWitt de Rust Wine Co. À Oliver, BC. Donc, un beau bonjour à tout le monde en français. Salut, maman. Okay, Mira, what do you have in line for us today? We have Yannick Nadeau here is just saying hi. Yannick, what's in your glass today? Great to have you on. Whew, I think you're better off inside, babe. Ugh. You're on mute.
Oh, you can come inside anytime.
Yeah, you know what? I like the tan. I like the.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in the lake right after when we're done here, right? So
we're what now? August 17th. We haven't used sunscreen yet, and neither
why?
of us have gotten a burn. So
yeah, what should I?
Don't
Why
make this the first day, Carl.
The
first burn.
So why? What is your favorite grape varietal? I think we came through that top 6 Syrah because it's one of your favorite grape varietal, and
well, it's been one of yours too. Like I know
absolutely.
You go wild over Chardonnay, but if you had to pick a next favorite, it might just be Syrah, wouldn't it?
If it's not, it'd be very, very, very close. And I think you just nailed it on the head. I think it is one of my, if not my favorite red grape varietal. So yeah,
and so for me, like I don't know if I need to rank them, but Yannick says it's too hot for big red. Sorry. You know what's so funny, Yannick? Like that's the same thing Carl would say. Like the other day, I'm like, oh, I want a nice big red. And he's like, how can you? It's so hot. But I don't know. When it gets hot, I crave a red.
Yeah, Mira, whoa. Let's tell the story straight here. So, like last week, like we're on the midst of like 15 days in a row, 35, 36 degrees. And one of late afternoon, I say, hon, what do you feel like today? Like, should I open a Muscat, a sparkling? Or do you feel for a Chard? She said, nope, I would like something. I feel like something red today. I'm like, huh, interesting. Do you want me to chill a nice Gamay or a Pinot? She said, no, you don't get it. I want a big, juicy Syrah. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's 37 degrees out there. She said, yeah. When it's hot like that, I want a big, juicy Syrah. And can you throw a big piece of meat on the grill? I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. Yeah, I love that. So that was the exact story.
That's true.
That's true. So
I'm having this Viognier. So what's the thing with Viognier and Syrah? They often put a little splash of this, right?
Everything goes back to the Rhone Valley. What is the most famous wine region in the world? What put Syrah on the map 150, 200 years ago? That's where where's hometown for Syrah? Where's the home country for Syrah? It's France. More specifically, the Rhone Valley, La Vallée du Rhône, the south of the Rhone Valley, and more specifically, the Northern Rhone. So Northern Rhone, with the appellation of Côte-Rôtie, Hermitage, and these very sought-after sub-appellation in France, that's where the Syrah is coming from. And by law, in the Northern Rhone, le Côte-du-Rhône, dans la partie nord, the northern part of the Côte-du-Rhône, in the Côte-Rôtie, like they are allowed to grow exclusively Syrah, and in white, they're allowed to grow exclusively Viognier. So
that makes sense then.
That makes sense.
Options.
So for hundreds of years, they have been having in same vineyard Syrah for their red and Viognier for their white. So through the years, through the decades, through like the century ago, they've always been co-fermenting a little splash of Viognier in their Syrah. There's many aspects to that, and funny enough, a little bit of Viognier, of white grape, help the Syrah to look darker. How's that make sense for you, eh? So yeah, so by throwing some
Is it that it's darker or like more vibrant? I'm just
I
curious.
remember in term of color, it helped the pigmentation help. Like there's a chemical reaction when you throw the Viognier in the Syrah to make like the color just look darker.
Huh.
Funny enough, right?
Right.
So yeah, so Viognier and Syrah have been neighbors, have been roommates for hundreds of years in the bottle in the vineyard. So that's just a natural growth. Is just a like how thing has developed from the Rhone Valley. Now, after that, early 1900, some French traveled to Australia. They brought some roots from the Hermitage appellation. They brought that to Australia in Barossa Valley, and they started to plant some Syrah out there. And these poor Aussies, with their accent, were never able to pronounce Syrah properly. La Syrah, like the French will always say, La Syrah, but their poor Aussie has turned out into Shiraz. So with their accent, the Syrah was never able to be pronounced by Aussies, and that's how we know about Shiraz. Shiraz and Syrah is the exact same kind of grape, the exact same DNA, and traveled from Hermitage in the northern Rhone Valley all the way to Barossa Valley and the south of Australia, and that's how the Shiraz was born. From there, Washington State became a place fairly suitable for Syrah because of their very dry climate and hot climate. So Syrah is very scared of winter. Syrah is a very hardy grape. Syrah has a hard time dealing with the cold. That's why it's very risky to plant Syrahs. And that's why the south of the Okanagan is one of the spots where you can protect your Syrah. It's a risky proposition to do that in Ontario, as we know. But a few of our friends had the balls to go forward and keep pushing towards having some of their Syrah vineyard. And this year, a couple weeks ago, at the All Canadian Wine Championship, a wine that we've tasted a couple months ago, just bottled with some of our friends from BC, 13th Street, released their new Syrah where they just won platinum at the All Canadian. So take that, people who says that they can't produce good Syrah in Niagara. Best Syrah in the country this year, but according to the panel at the All Canadian Wine Award, obviously, just like we mentioned earlier today, this is not in stone. That doesn't mean that there's other people who think differently, but the panel, led by Geoffrey Moss, who is the assistant of Anthony Gismondi, wine masters and sommelier here in BC. Geoffrey Moss was leading the panel, I believe, for the Syrah. And yeah, 13th Street in Jean-Pierre Collat won platinum for the Syrah. And I clearly remember when we were there in June with the average wine enthusiast, Mike Laplante, was right with us. And Mike is right here with us tonight. We tasted en primeur that amazing Syrah. And we had Rob Amersley, winemaker, owner at Black Market, with us. And I remember Mira's face when we tasted that Syrah for the first time. And we all look at each other, and Mira said, Carl Boucher, I think we got a winner here. You remember that?
Yes, that was a good one.
It was pretty spectacular. So, yeah.
We were with some members, weren't we?
We had Mike. Mike was with, it was our first stop of the day, the tour
yes,
that
and
we
Rob.
went. Rob Amersley, Michelle Tachuk, Mike Laplante and his wife, and you and me.
Nice. So Mike.
So yeah. So yeah. So Syrah now is becoming, to me, the signature grape. I have to. Yeah, there's so many great things that's happening here in BC, in the Okanagan, in the Similkameen Valley. But I believe that Syrah is becoming that signature grape of the south of the Okanagan. And I remember a conversation that I had with the winemaker at Black Hills, Ross Wise, last year, when I said, Ross, I think that maybe the south of the Okanagan is maybe the third best region in the world to grow Syrah. And he absolutely cut me off. He said, what are you talking about? Is at worst the second best. And we can be one of the best just because we don't have the hundreds of years that the Northern Rhone has. But yes, this is one of the top spot in the world. And even Decanter magazine just released, I think it was in February, an article where is that the Okanagan was the rising star Syrah producer in the world. So yeah, everyone, like most of the people agree that what we have here, it's very special. So we're excited to little bee here playing with my ear. So we're excited to release our top 6 BC Syrah today. I think we have a guest joining us soon.
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Ryan is in the green room. Should we bring in Ryan?
Ryan's in the house, so let's. Why not? Why should we let him sit out there and just waiting for us? We're here. I have some Rust
from Rust Wine Co. Right? Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Hey, how are you guys?
Ryan, how's it going?
Peachy.
Peachy.
Oh yeah. If you, as long as you excuse a little bit of mental delay, I have a 1-month-old now, so it's a little I'm a little.
Congratulations. That's so great.
You know what? Congratulations.
We have 3, and that's also my excuse for the it never really went away because the middle one didn't sleep for years, and it.
Oh, our first one is not a sleeper either, so we're kind of we're living on fumes at the moment. Actually, just Syrah and
well, thank God for Syrah,
water.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations on the newborn, Ryan.
Yeah,
and well, thanks for being with us in this very special week for us. We are revealing our top 6 Syrah and promoting that first ever, one of our first mixed bag, gift bag that we're going to send across the country. But we have some pretty good name in that pack, and you and your team has been specialized into making Syrahs in the last 4 or 5 years. But you take the whole Syrah concept to the next level, and you guys are focusing on terroir specific program. So why don't you first and foremost just tell our people a little bit from across the country, what's Rust Wine Company's philosophy when it's time to grow the Syrah grape, harvest the Syrah grape, and also produce your Syrah from all of these very specific places in the Okanagan?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we, like you said, by and large, we specialize in making Syrah. We make 4 different ones from throughout the Okanagan and the Similkameen Valley. So we have 3 sites in the Okanagan. So we have Okanagan Falls. We do a Black Sage Bench Syrah, and then one from our home vineyard on the Golden Mile, and one in the southern Similkameen in Cawston. We, when I was hired and I was brought in to make Syrah, I couldn't be happier, truthfully. I made it in Niagara a few times, but we only really ripened it properly about twice where I was for 5 years. So in 5 years, we could make it twice. So I consider myself really lucky to be making Syrah every year from these different terroirs. And when I was brought in, the idea is like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make these 4 Syrahs. It was 3 at the time, but we're going to make 4 Syrahs, and we're going to do them all exactly the same. They're going to have the same barrels. They're going to have the same everything. And we're going to kind of let the grapes do the talking. The more that I've worked with the Syrah from these sites, the more the grapes do the talking, but the less the processing stays the same. So the 2019s that are out now are basically that original philosophy. They're making them exactly the same, seeing if the terroir can really show itself. I think from what we're learning is all the sites require a bit of a tweak to kind of hone in the style, I really was inspired when I went to Hermitage in France, and fell in love. Like most people, I started with Shiraz when I was in university, and that was kind of the gateway drug for wine for me. It's easy, it was fruity, it was boozy, which is good in university, and then as I kind of matured, I still love Shiraz, but I kind of got into North Rhone Syrah, and that always kind of wafts around in the back of my brain when we're making the wines, and a lot of those techniques are now finding themselves into the bottle, which is so much fun. This I just happened to actually open this the other day. So yesterday, my wife and I are sharing it. So she's now with the baby's out, she can have a bit of booze, and she's a happy camper. Um, and so this one specifically has been really neat. When this one was made, it was really big and dark and brooding and tannic, and I was like, oh man, it's never going to turn around. It was just kind of I had no idea what it was going to be like, and it's just gotten prettier and prettier and prettier as it's aged in bottle. I think it has the most robust tannins of the four that we have. It's pretty unique, and so everything that I've been doing since then is kind of trying to play with those tannins, work with them, and get them a little smoother and more kind of integrated. So it's gone from totally destemmed grapes in the 19. In 2020, it was about 50% whole cluster grapes. So about half destemmed and half whole clusters, a little bit more kind of North Rhone. And then 2021, and hopefully this year as well, though we'll see how the grapes come in, but it's 100% whole cluster from now on.
Okay.
So
Okay.
really,
So the
really
whole
pretty.
cluster brings a little bit more softness to
Yeah.
your wine. I'd say probably less skin contact to the whole thing.
Yeah. Yep. So a bit more softness, a lot of aromatics. I don't know if you've ever smelled um, the rachis, like the grape stem after the grapes have been destemmed. It has a cinnamon, almost baking spices kind of thing. And I find that actually translates into the wine. And then it provides a nice kind of bridging tannin between the grape tannins, the oak tannins, and the seed tannins, all that stuff going on in there. Kind of ties it all together, makes it a more complete package, at least for this site.
So that is a very good point. Now, a great segue, Ryan, because you guys do 4 sites. And for me, I was a little bit more, when I tasted all the rust side by side, I'm used to try Black Sage Bench Syrah. I'm used to try Golden Mile Syrah. I'm getting more and more used to try the Similkameen Syrah. When I
Yeah.
got to the Okanagan Falls, I think for me, what drives me toward that specific one was how unique it was, how completely
Mm,
different. And might say it's probably the closest is the Similkameen one.
mm,
Similkameen and Okanagan Falls has a little bit of connection to me,
mm, mm.
but yeah, really unique on its own style. What the Okanagan Fall, the Lost Horn Vineyard has specific that you can tell us about, like what's so unique about that very specific site compared to the other ones?
Yeah, its elevation is really the big difference between all of them. So it sits on a little plateau. You can see the McIntyre Bluff just south of it. Honestly, the view is spectacular from up there, but it slopes south very gently. But its elevation is the big difference. So it does get the daytime heat, but it cools down a lot in the nighttime. And really, you get that diurnal shift, and we get a really different ripening structure. So the Similkameen would be similar in that it's not so much elevation; it's just it gets afternoon shade. So it's kind of it's on the like the east-ish side of the river, but there's a lot of mountain. The mountains generally block out the sun kind of later in the afternoon, providing a little bit of that shade that I think the elevation kind of mimics in Okanagan Falls. You also get like a really interesting spice profile. I find that the Lazy River Syrah or Syrah from the Similkameen Valley really tends to have like a spicy um, olive tapenade kind of ripe. It balances a ripe unripe um, sort of tightrope. working on finding my metaphor there. I got it. And I think it's kind of similar with the Okanagan Falls location, you know, like it's cooler, we have the elevation, and we're kind of walking that ripe, unripe line. This wine generally is the least ripe of the four.
Okay.
So it's not quite as sweet, the fruits, but it really kind of, yeah, it shows a similar personality for sure.
You know, and just for me, when I've tasted them all, I think, and I get a little bit more rugged. It's a little bit more rugged, so the tannin are a little bit more, I would say, rugged tannin. And to me, it's took me a little bit like the Rioja, like the old school Tempranillo, a little bit more rugged tannin. But what stands out to me, it's the florality and the minerality of the Okanagan Falls. I got lots of violet in there. I got a nice floral aspect, like a red pepper tone that I get in there that I don't get into like usually like that cassis, blueberry, blackberry. This is yet full body and like really astringent tannin, but there's a certain finesse and elegance into that Syrah to me.
Yeah, and I think you're going to find it will age really well. A lot of wines that I've had in the past that have that kind of tannin structure, they end up being tannin bombs when the fruit has faded 15 years from now. So what I'm hoping is that in 15 years, the tannins have kind of integrated and settled in, and we still have some of that nice fruit carrying it. So it's a bit of a lighter frame. I would call the tannins rustic, I think would be pretty fair to say. You know, it's very old school, like you said, you know, it's that kind of lo-fi winemaking structure. And I think that's what I like the most about the spot. You know, like the Merlots from the site are exactly the same. They have this kind of rustic structure that I think you only really find in good right bank Bordeaux. You know, like you have these Merlot dominant wines, you know, like you can't tell me that Merlot is all just big and plush, but Petrus ages for 30, 40, 50 years, you know, like it's 100% Merlot. So at some point there's real structure there. And I think that's what this site delivers.
Ryan, come on, let's talk like we all talk like terroir, right? Everyone throws the word terroir out there all the time. But that's what we're talking about. If you drive through Okanagan Falls today, is there any more rustic city or village than Okanagan Falls in the old Okanagan? It's like driving back into like being teleported back in the far west. And with all the respect, I love Okanagan Falls. It's one of my favorite places in the Okanagan. But rusticity, to me, it's synonymous, a synonym of Okanagan Falls. And like you mentioned, the McIntyre Bluff, the big rocks, the cliff, like you can also most like pictures the high tall cactus in there, and like the wind blowing. To me, that's Okanagan Falls, and to me it's reflecting the wine. That's why I really connected with that wine right out of the gate.
Yeah, it really speaks to the place, doesn't it? It's funny that you bring up the town itself. You know, I think being reasonable and you're right, it's a rustic town. You know, it doesn't have the flash of other places, you know, like it's not super developed. I think what keeps it from being super developed is those high plateaus and those rugged cliffs, and there's just not a lot of places to put houses. You know, like it's just not going to get really developed. There's not a lot of amenities there unless you really like ice cream.
Yeah.
And
are we talking about Tickleberry here?
Yeah. I honestly was like, yeah. So it's just kind of, I think you're right. I think the space is really reflected in the terroir. And, you know, like a lot of people like to sell themselves short. You know, a lot of people that don't, you know, they just like a nice glass of wine and they just, you know, they're good. They think, oh, you know, I can't taste the difference and there's no difference. Or, you know, I don't know. There's sometimes a reverse snobbery about it too. You know, some people don't want to know. which is fine too. You know, I want everybody to drink my wine. I don't care if you're too worried about it. But but there is a difference. You know, you can tell the difference if you put them both in front of you. You can do it. And you know, a lot of people, I think they sell themselves short. They like to think of terroir as this mysterious thing, and I suppose it is to a point because we don't know everything that's going into the wines. You know, like we kind of have a we don't have an exact breakdown of the minerals and the nutrients in the grapes to make the wine. You know, we just don't do that. So what makes the wine itself is the place that it comes from, and no single vine grows the same. You know, I made a wine from one grapevine and made a wine right across the road from another grapevine. They would taste different, and it just has to do with those roots putting themselves down. They're able, maybe there's a little bit more clay somewhere, maybe there's a little bit more limestone, maybe there's a little bit, you know, all these varying factors, light exposure changes. You know, it really is unique.
Yeah, and you know, Ryan, congratulations for how you elevate the Rust wine portfolio, especially the Syrah Terroir program. It is a unique. You're one of the only one in BC to work with Syrah from 4 different sites and working it the exact same way and give us, like, providing us total complete, like letting the grapes speak for themselves. So this is part of our top 6 Syrah this year. I greatly enjoyed it. And there's your sister company, Mount Boucherie, who also had one of their Syrah in the top 6 this year with the Reserve 2019. I believe that you work pretty closely with Jeff Untermark. So you guys work pretty closely. So can you give us a little bit of a rundown of the 2019 Reserve? Just one gold that the All Canadian. I tasted that earlier this year, and I knew from the get-go that this guy was an absolute gem as well. So what's the secret sauce in here?
Yeah. So Mount Boucherie focuses more on blends of sites and barrel selection. So we have the Rust portfolio where we're really working on drilling down to the specific terroir, whereas Mount Boucherie, the philosophy is taking all those vineyards and then selecting wines from those barrels and making a blend to make we have a white label, which is what we call it. So there's just it's our introductory Syrah, and then there's the Reserve, where it's that barrel selection, what we think are our best barrels of Syrah. So it's less about the specific site and more about the art of the blend.
Yeah, and when you taste it side by side, it is completely different. It's more, I would say, the Reserve 19 is more plush, more textural, but it's a little bit more. It's in general more a reflection of the grapes compared to what we have in the Rust. It's a reflection of the site. So, Ryan, I know you're a busy man. You may have a chance to catch up on sleep if the baby has a nap right now. So I'm not going to take more of your time. Congratulations for what you do.
I did want to say something. I don't know if you knew this, Carl, but I was just looking at Ryan's bio, and before coming out here, you were at Leaning Post in Ontario. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we were just out there tasting their wines. Such a small world.
Awesome. I worked with Ilya for, well, when I was getting into wine, I just bothered him for work. So I had one of his Pinots once and I loved it. And so I called him and I said, Ilya, you know, I really need to get into the business. I'll do anything. And so I worked for free. You know, I worked for wine. I would do whatever it takes. You know, back then we were making wine on a dirt floor. There was no winery to speak of as such. You know, there was some tanks and they froze in the winter, and some barrels in a room that stayed, you know, we kept warm with space heaters. And so over the years, he was able to finally hire me full time, and I worked for him full time for 5 years, almost 4 or 5 years. And then it was time for me to, you know, go on and do my own thing. But we keep in touch. He's a brother to me, and we wish we could spend more time.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. You're so good, Nira, to pull out these kind of stuff. Like, great timing. That's funny because I was emailing Nadia today, and we're going to feature a leaning post coming up in a
good.
month.
Yeah.
And Mira and I sat down with Ilya and Nadia a month ago, and we did the full portfolio tasting together.
Nice.
And we blind tasted a bunch of people from the industry here in BC with Ilya's Syrah, actually, like a couple of weeks ago. And people were like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah,
And
it's good.
it's absolutely fantastic. So, that's such a cool
super
story.
Interesting. Now I got a question from Mike about the mycelium network. So I'm going to have to go Google what that means.
Oh yeah.
And if it affects the flavor of the wines. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's
short answer. Is there one?
No, well, I don't know enough about it. I think we're all becoming increasingly aware of the mycelium network. So the network of fungal fibers that work their way through the soil, and they can send messages between plants and nutrients. It's fascinating. You know, I think like a lot of people. Oh my word! I wish I could remember the name of the book, but it's a professor at UBC, and she started doing a lot of this research into how a lot of the old growth forests are connected by these mycelium networks. So the trees can kind of feel the forest. And I actually just started reading the book, and then we had a baby, and I haven't read anything in a month and a half. So.
Hey, I won't hold it against you.
Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
Boy. Wow.
2 boys.
Boys. Oh, so you're joining
we're joining our club. We're 3 boys club. So Ryan, I won't hold it against you. I opened the book 14 years ago and I never touched it again. So I don't know if something happened in between.
I didn't write it. I'm okay.
Hey, thanks for your time. That's amazing.
Thanks,
we hope that we can do something together again. I know that you guys are working on releasing maybe the new vintage of the Terroir series very soon. So I'm
bottled. They'll be released in the spring.
That's amazing. I'm staying put. I'm waiting for good news, and we'll chat soon. Thanks for your time. I appreciate that.
Guys.
Congratulations on an amazing program.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Ryan.
So cool.
You pulled these information just out of your bag. I was just about to say out of your ass, but that wouldn't have been appropriate. But
love it. Well, you know what? That was so interesting. You know, one of the first times that I really got the meaning of the word terroir was when we had the Rust Syrahs side by side, and seeing, you know, the same vintage, the same year, same winemaker, and yet very different vineyard sites was, it was fascinating.
And you know, and I think that's the reason why that very specific one, the Okanagan Falls, just jumped out of these 4 Ross to me because it was so different. And sometimes, you know, like we get that a lot with the orange wine or that natural wine, but like sometimes it's just so different that people were gonna geek on them. Like it's not always different good, but they was really, really freaking good and very different. You know, and this is fresh, but also rustic, floral, and the minerality is all like it's outstanding. The espresso coffee mixed with different like red and black fruits. What an amazing difference in between some Syrah profile here. And so this is the quintessence of difference. So I really, really enjoyed it. To all of our, go ahead.
Go ahead.
To all of our wine geek who likes to geek on something different, this is the one to to geek on.
I was going to say, like, I'm just putting the link here in the comments. So if you were curious about the tasting notes, or if you're wanting to order the 6-pack with all the 6 Syrahs, you can. But normally in our tasting notes, we put the date. We started doing this about 8 months ago. We put the date of when you actually taste it, because we all know wines change over time, right? So it's kind of interesting to know if these notes are from right now or from 6 months ago. I don't have the date for the rest one because this was before we started putting the dates. So it must have been last fall sometime that we tasted it, right?
Yeah. And I did it again. I did it again with when we did the Syrah tasting, the Syrah, the International Syrah Day in February.
In February. So the
February.
last.
That's what it made it to my top three, to my top five with Ice Cellar, with Mouchadre. There was Rust. There was the Spadefoot Toad. There was anyway. So
That'll
all
be
I
the
think,
ultimate. If we can ever do a mixed pack from across the country, that would be pretty cool.
yeah. So speaking about terroir and uniqueness, let's go through our second wine that I have open here, and it's coming from the Naramata Bench, single vineyard Naramata Bench. And when we talk Syrah, we usually don't talk all the way as north as the Naramata Bench. The Bench is not known for Syrah. The Bench is known for something a little bit more, I would say, in the middle frame of the spectrum. But this Syrah, who is sitting on the Moraine Estate Winery sites on the bench. Mr. Dickinson from the Dickinson family, who's our very famous grower there on the bench, has mentioned multiple, like a couple of years ago, that where's that Syrah, the Moraine Syrah is located, is one of the most special terroir to grow Syrah. And he mentioned that a couple of years ago that if one day this Syrah should be named one of the best Syrah in the country. But funny enough, this year won gold medal or double gold this year. That's Syrah from Moraine. And Mira and I had the pleasure to taste that before any of the competition rated it, and we knew that this Syrah had something very, very special. Amber Pratt, the winemaker, is a Syrah. She's a wizard working with Syrah. She won some big international prize back in the day when she was working with CC Gens, and she made magic. So this Syrah is very terroir focused. This is the quintessence of precision, of site specific, and we tasted that early February. And I was pretty impressed when we were there yesterday and we had another splash of that Syrah. See how it has improved since February. Again, even if it was spectacular in February, it gained in texture. It gained in like the tannin got a little softer and all that. So wow, this is a real treat right now.
Yeah, beauty. And we have another wine open, right?
I have.
Oh, that pièce de résistance.
La pièce de résistance, Calice.
Oh my.
This
So,
is.
We gotta go back, right, to when we tasted the 2014 Spadefoot Toad. And we had never heard of this. I don't know if a lot of you guys had ever heard of this, but when Carl tasted the 2014 Spadefoot Toad Syrah from Summerhill, he went wild. And a lot of people bought that wine and agreed with him. And there were people texting us saying, oh my God, like you're right, that texture is out of this world. It's become a benchmark, right? For that texture. There's only been maybe 2 other wines we've ever tasted that have that kind of texture.
That's exactly it. We always, when we find a wine with amazing texture, that's the first thing that comes to our mind. And so my expectation were so sky high with Spadefoot Toad Syrah. But before we get to, I think I wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about Moraine.
Okay.
But because I think it's very special that bottle from the bench at a very, very affordable price. We got that for around $40. I think that it's very, very unique to have the chance. And again, I had that spill before. I made that whole point before, but like these annoying people who always get back to me and say, oh, the Canadian wines are so expensive. They're so overpriced. And they go out and go to liquor stores and buy international wine for double the price, and they never complain that these darn wines are not so expensive. What we got here single vineyard Naramata bench at $40 when it's been like 75 or 100 cases produced. Leave me the fuck alone with your overpriced or too expensive type of wine. These wines are so worth it. These wines are so underpriced. And yeah, and to me, this is the quintessence of what an outstanding value wine can be. Even if it's not, like, sometimes we kind of mistaken, oh, value wine should be a $15 or a $17 wine. No, I'm talking about a wine that you pay $40 but delivers for $60 to $75. And you can put that side by side with some of the great if you put that in front of a $70 French wine from Côte d'Rône, I'm telling you, from the Rhone Valley, I'm telling you, you will be very, very surprised of the result. Extremely surprised. We experienced it together at Syrah Day when we brought some French wine, some French Syrah, a Washington State Syrah, a California Syrah, and a Chilean Syrah, no, and an Aussie Syrah. They all finished at the very bottom of the list, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know anything about wine, right? So I'm just tasting it based on my rating scale, which is, do I like it or not? I don't know where it comes from yet. I don't know anything, right? So it worked for me. And then, of course, Carl is more, like what the benchmarks are internationally, which I don't. I've never had $1,000 Syrah from an international vineyard, right? But
yeah. Anyway, so that was my a little bit of my spiel here, my frustration.
It's true. I mean, if you think about it this way, some of these countries, right, like France, they still pay living wages similar to what we pay, sometimes more, right? Because they're in the EU. And then on top of that, they've got to export it and get it out here and pay for all that shipping and the middlemen and all that kind of stuff. So you're probably going to get a better value at home when someone's doing a good job, when a winery's really doing a great job expressing what their terroir is about, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But we can see like what's the quintessence of an outstanding wine, and I think that Mike Laplante is a member as well at Summerhill Pyramid Winery, and he's one of the guys we often have conversation about Spadefoot Toad. That can be the Spadefoot Toad Sangiovese, but the Spadefoot Toad Syrahs, like you mentioned, started when we tasted the 2014 vintage and became the benchmark for textural wine, for outstanding plush, soft tannin. And when we cracked the 2016 for the first time, to be honest, I was kind of not disappointed, but I just like my expectation was so sky high that I had kind of a problem of forgetting the 2014, and this wine was like it spent 47 months in barrel. 47 months in barrel. It was recently released. So now a year later that we're tasting it again, I just see the 2014 all over again. The softness of that texture, the roundness, the definition of every single flavors and aromas are so defined and so incredibly precise and juicy. So that's Syrah. You know, and it's kind of funny because you cannot put that like in the category, say, oh, it's a little bit old world. I can recognize something French in there, because I totally do with the rust. I totally do find a little bit more of the French style, low alcohol, bright acid, minerality, florality, and also the rustic tannin. But when it's time for the Spadefoot Toad, this is unique on its own. So yeah.
So you're saying this second glass has it, right? And you've taken your first sip?
The second one is it's the Moraine.
It's Moraine. Oh, do we still have this one? The Spadefoot?
It's not in your glass just yet.
Oh, okay.
No. Oh. Uh, so yeah, so that's the moraine here that you have a little bit of mental, like bright minerality as well. This and see how much plusher, how much rounder this wine is compared to it was in February. It
Yeah.
has improved a lot. But yeah, the rock star bottle on our top six, to me, it was a no-brainer. It was a no doubt who was my number one on that top six. BC Okanagan Syrah. It's the Spadefoot Toad 2016. There's a texture and definition that it's not available anywhere else. This wine is just incredibly superior of so many wine that you will put in front of yours, in your glass. This is incredibly powerful, but also a well managed, like a well managed alcohol. It's powerful, but it's not heavy. It's it's muscular, but it's not intimidating. There's a balance in there. It's like like it's really special. I think the word is special, and I rarely go to 95 points. Really rarely go to that level. 95
There's like
points.
maybe this many wines in the last year that have been 95 points, right?
Oh, not more than that. It's
Not
not
more than
more than
that.
five, and we tasted like close to 1,000 wines, and not more than five have hit that level. And I can name them. There's the Upper Bench Pinot Noir. There's this one. There's the 2014 of this one. There's the 13th Street. And I don't even the 13th Street Première Cuvée. I think it hit 94 plus, not even 95. So the level of 95 or 96 points is a really, really, really exclusive threshold that we don't get there very often. And this one is what it is. So yeah. There's this very special source. The grapes are coming from Oliver, from a very special farmer, and the result in the wine is really unique. So I would like to move on to the next couple wines. So because I don't want to, I want to make sure that they got the love that they deserve. So
Yeah,
we
but
have,
we're tasting this Summerhill, right?
are we?
I told everyone we were.
How do you tell everyone? Who do you talk to?
I sent an email like 20 minutes ago. I thought that's what we're doing.
Oh, I know. I told anyway. I can open it if you want.
Yeah.
Here,
Oh,
but
I know they know it. I know we should have opened it before, but I thought that's what you opened. Oh my God.
no, I opened the one that I was hoping I was hosting. Ryan and Amber was supposed to join us from Moraine, but her mom, she had to go pick up her mom at the airport. So last minute we kind of changed our plan. So I had these two open, and I wasn't sure if I should have opened a third one. So how about you come here?
Did Deadpool drink the golden egg? Daryl, I hope it's gonna get to you like tomorrow. I have no idea, but I will find out.
We sure reached out to Catherine on Monday morning, and now we're Wednesday night, and we haven't heard from Red Wister just yet. Can you bring me a wine opener right out here and bring a glass? So we're gonna pour that out.
You bet. If that means that we're gonna open that Spadefoot Toad,
yeah,
because I've been looking forward to that all day. Okay.
Okay. So while we're opening the Spadefoot Toad, get ready for some body reaction here. So let's talk about Maverick Estate Winery. Maverick was one of the very special wine that Mira fell in love with. No, Daryl, no tracking yet. I wished I had one for you. So in January, our first offer of the year, we cracked open the 2019 Bushvine Syrah, and Mira absolutely fell in love with that wine. And we started to dig deeper into the Maverick wine portfolio. We were so impressed and so pleased with everything they do. And we did an offer with them, and quickly the 19 got sold out without us knowing. So last week I got to Maverick, and I got a bottle of their brand new vintage, just released. The 2020 was just released, and yes, right up to the 2019 alley. This wine is a little spicier than the 2019. The 2020 is a little bit more rounder in texture, but there's the same profile. Definitely, they are brother. They're coming from the same source. There's the same winemaking, and darn it, yes, we can absolutely define the Maverick style. Just a little bit more spice. So yes, 93 points. That's part of our top 6 this year.
Do you have an Enovino in here? No.
I'm not here.
I'm gonna go look for it. And you know what? The sun's gone now. I might come out here to see you.
There you go. Why not, right? So Spade Foot Toad Syrah. There you go. That's coming up. Wow. Woohoo! Oh yeah, cloves and oh yeah, love that. Okay, I want you to. Yeah. This is the cream of the crop. Of the Okanagan, according to Carl's Wine Club, according to me. So, hey, you know what? Some people will say there's other Syrahs who are superior than that, and I respect everyone's choice. My take on that is that Spadefoot Toad, the source of these grapes, are so absolutely incredible that when you put this in your mouth, the texture, it's what makes this wine so freaking special. So we'll wait for Mira. We're going to give her a splash as well. I think she wants to Enovino it. I will not just yet. I want to have a full right out pop and pour expression to start, and we'll see after for the Enovino. But outstanding wine. Wow. Sorry, Mira, I didn't wait for you. Wow. Yeah, this wine is just to another level, another step. Richness, depth, concentration. I mean, this is incredible. So now Miss Mira wants it Enovino.
Oh, so you have yours not Enovino?
Yeah.
Hey. And Ken just sent me a note. Ken, thank you. I don't know if you're still on. I get it. Like you're saying, you know, sometimes it's hard to want to spend 40 to 50 bucks on a wine, especially, you know, like if you're budget conscious and these sorts of things. And I get that. And I think that's part of why we try to feature all different price points in the club. And that's what I love about Carl's Wine Club is you're not stuck with one particular winery that has one set of price points. We found some amazing wines at $15. We found some incredible value wines like Lakeside.
That's exactly why we put this bottle in the top 6, because it blew our socks off. It's extremely impressive. And that's why I always put the price point in my scoring, in my evaluation of the wine. For $24 plus tax, so $28 all in, we have a world-class Syrah here. So to me, that has as much value. That's as much. I know. This is freaking standing.
Where stuff? Yeah, that has incredible value. The Lakeside. So this is where I get it. Like as someone who's new to wine, right?
Yeah.
Tasting them side by side like that, I'm like, they're all really freaking good. But this elicits the wow. This is just like, I'm still tasting it.
Oh,
the finish is not done yet. Like this is like going on and on. And when I taste it side by side with the others, I can see that difference. Wow. I just want to see with the Anovino now.
This is just another level. It's textural. It's not about the level of ripeness. It's about the level of phenolic development, about the complexity, about the level of licorice, dark cherry, grilled bacon, about spice, like pepper, the defined white pepper, cloves. But in all that is that satin, like that velvet texture that you don't get anywhere else. It's just so unique and special. There's that level, but it's also $55 or $60. We're talking about the top bracket of the price point. And you get here to Lakeside Cellar, but for $28, you get something to blow your socks off for a price point that you will never imagine that you can get a wine at that quantity. So yeah, this is unreal for the price point. We got the Moraine at $40. So $40, I would say, for a top Syrah who had like 75 cases produced, it is a great representation of where it's from. It's pretty cool. Here, under $30. This is under $30 as well. So we got these two here. That it's absolutely unreal. So yes, we got some wine at $60, but also some crazy, beautiful representation of the south of the Okanagan and different style as well, completely different style. So yeah, because that's fun. When you see Rust and Moraine, both are more on elegance, lower alcohol, and more terroir specific. And you got like Montboucherie, who is the classic age-worthy, peppery barrel selection of what's the best, and also some very beautiful expression of the south of the Okanagan. So yeah.
But yeah, that texture.
It's unique, just unique, absolutely unique.
So I remember the 2014, right? This is the 2016.
Yeah.
But with the 2014, you were talking about it being fluffy when you're trying
to
describe it, almost like marshmallow cream or something like that. I totally get what you're saying with this wine. It's like it kind of coats your entire mouth, but it doesn't. It's so light, like in a sense that it's like round, not like it coats your mouth and heaviness in any sort of way.
No. It's big and light. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. It kind of doesn't if you just like, what are you talking about? It's big but light. Yeah. It's like you mentioned, it coats your mouth, but it's not heavy. It's what? We're talking 14.5 in alcohol level, but it's not heavy. Everything is in texture. It's fluffy. It's sexy. It's suave.
But that feeling in your mouth after you do eat some like fresh toasted marshmallow off the fire, that kind of like texture, that is totally what I'm getting.
Yeah. So an absolute incredible wine.
It's worth mentioning what it says on the back here, okay? Because Mike mentioned this earlier in the chat, Mike LaPlante, about the love that goes into the Spadefoot Toad wine. There's a Sangiovese and there's a Syrah, maybe something else. So Spadefoot Toad refers to a vineyard owned by Ron Furman, and he knows every one of those vines from what we've heard. And he just like every day takes care of each vine, puts, like organic fertilizers at each vine. He knows them.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, and he raises Spadefoot tadpoles each spring in a sealed irrigation trough. And then they've got Syrah clones, $7.99 and 100, individually fermented in small lots with daily hand cap management. Mellow for 3 years in neutral oak barriques. and then blend it together.
Yeah, we're talking about 47 months. It's 47 months in barrel. So
unfined and unfiltered.
When we talk about why that wine has such a texture, it's one of the reasons for. Like the 40, this has been sitting 47 months in barrel. When we're talking about the unique process, that's what we're talking about. The result is absolutely spectacular. The result is out of this freaking world. And there's a immediate reflection in the glass. So, Mira Boucher.
Carl Boucher.
Cheers to that.
Wow.
To Ron Furman. To Michael, the winemaker at Summerhill, that unfortunately had another commitment tonight. He couldn't join us. To Ezra Sipes, to all the team at Summerhill, congratulations. This wine is off the chart.
I'm just pushing you so we can see you better.
I'm like, what's she doing? So
it
yeah,
is really good.
So my source here's my camera is just about to die. So it always tells me that, yep, we're past our 1 hour live. But I want to say that next week we have another pretty cool feature. We're going to feature Hillside Winery from the bench across the lake right here. We just tasted their 2016 Dickinson Merlot a couple nights ago. That's pretty cool. Really, really good.
I have to say, varietal wise, I'm really starting to like Merlot.
Yeah. So we have a very good one. We have 2 Merlots in that pack. A Syrah, the 19 Syrah, we just made it to on the decanter, top 15 Syrah of the Okanagan. Wow. Also silver medal at the All Canadian. So that Syrah is going to be in the pack. The very special Moscato Tonel, that one that we love. That's the tail end of the 2020 vintage. So I think that's the best vintage of Moscato Tonel that Hillside has ever made. So next week Hillside is coming. We had some pretty cool tasting yesterday. We toured with a few members. We were at De Silva, and again I was so impressed, and I so enjoyed their Chenin Blanc yesterday. Their Pinot is off the chart. So yeah, good time at De Silva, at Moraine and Upper Bench yesterday. So we rocked the bench. But yeah, this is Syrah week. We have the Carl's Wine Club top 6 Syrah available in one pack. This is rare and unique. We found a way to pack 6 different Syrahs all in the same package, shipped to your door. We're gonna overnight that pack to your door. So there's not a lot available. We already have sold most of them. So if you're thinking of getting your hands on our top 6 Syrah, get it done very soon, because we're gonna run out.
Yeah, and what it means is you don't have to go around to different BCLDB stores to try and find these wines. Some of these wines are nowhere in any stores anywhere because they're wine club only.
Wine club only.
And you don't have to ship a minimum of 6 from each individual winery to get these 6 Syrahs. So it's kind of cool. If you like Syrah, this is a really cool pack to get. And we've had a couple people gift it to people that love Syrah. So it's a great gift if you're looking to celebrate like a wedding or an anniversary or like a big special event or a thank you in business. So it's awesome. Mike's asking, can we see the bench from our place here? And yes, the trouble is the lighting here, but behind that willow tree is the Naramata bench. You have binoculars, you can literally like see who's working on what vineyard and see the vineyard workers.
I can see the tractors in the morning when they're working with tractors, and
you can see who's spraying on what day.
That
sort of thing. It's pretty cool. So Mike, you have to come visit your brother in Penticton, and you have to stop by here because it is pretty spectacular.
We're gonna die in a second or two. So Canadian wine lovers, we want to thank you for joining us. Get the Syrah pack. There's not a whole lot left, so we'll chat with you again very soon.
Very soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Syrah.